Chosen one, someone unexpected met your soulmate last night. Here's the story. My beloved child. Before your thumb moves, pause for a moment. Something led you here at exactly the right time. This is not a story that begins with coincidence. It begins with a meeting that no one expected, a conversation that was never supposed to happen, and a truth that quietly changed everything before the sun rose. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Last night, while the world was settling into silence, your soulmate found themselves standing at a crossroads they never imagined they would face. They believed it would be another ordinary evening, another collection of familiar moments that would disappear into memory. But destiny had already arranged a different path. Every step they took unknowingly carried them closer to someone whose appearance would shift the direction of their thoughts forever. That unexpected person did not arrive with loud words or dramatic entrances. They appeared naturally, almost as if the moment had been waiting for years to happen. At first, your soulmate barely noticed them. There was no reason to think this meeting would become unforgettable. Yet within minutes, something unusual began to unfold. Every sentence seemed to uncover emotions that had remained hidden for far too long. Every question gently opened another door inside your soulmate's heart. Don't skip. You have only heard the beginning. The next moments explain why this story found you today. The stranger looked at your soulmate with surprising calmness and asked a simple question. Is there someone you still think about even when you pretend you have moved on? Your soulmate did not answer immediately. Not because they did not know. Because they already knew the answer. The silence that followed became louder than any spoken sentence. It was the kind of silence that reveals more than words ever could. Deep inside, memories that had been carefully locked away began returning one by one. Moments they believed were forgotten suddenly felt alive again. The unexpected visitor smiled softly, almost as though they already understood everything without needing another explanation. Then they quietly said, "Sometimes the heart keeps protecting a connection long after the mind becomes tired." Those words stayed with your soulmate. Not for seconds. Not for minutes. They echoed throughout the rest of the night. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As the conversation continued, your soulmate found themselves speaking more honestly than they had in a very long time. They admitted fears they had never shared. They admitted doubts they never wanted anyone to see. They admitted there was one person whose absence still left unanswered questions. They never spoke your name. But every description pointed toward you. Every memory quietly returned to the same place. The unexpected person listened without interrupting. There was no judgment. No pressure. Only understanding. Then came another sentence that completely changed the atmosphere. What if the connection you keep trying to understand has been growing quietly while you were busy questioning it? Your soulmate froze. For the first time that evening, they stopped looking around and simply stared into the distance. It was as if pieces of a puzzle were beginning to fit together. They remembered little signs they had ignored. Unexpected dreams. Random reminders. Moments when your memory appeared without explanation. Small events that seemed meaningless individually but formed a much larger picture when viewed together. Don't skip. The biggest revelation has not happened yet. As midnight slowly approached, the conversation became even deeper. The unexpected visitor shared a story from their own life. It was about waiting. About timing. About discovering that some connections are never truly lost, they simply grow in silence until the right season arrives. Your soulmate listened carefully. Every sentence seemed strangely familiar. Almost as if they had been searching for these words without realizing it. Then something happened that neither of them expected. A gentle breeze passed through the quiet night. Everything around them became unusually still. Neither person spoke for several long moments. Sometimes silence carries answers that conversations cannot. Your soulmate closed their eyes briefly. One memory became impossible to ignore. It was not a grand event. It was a small moment. A smile. A conversation. A feeling that once seemed ordinary but now felt priceless. That single memory outweighed every distraction that had filled recent days. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The unexpected visitor noticed the change immediately. You remembered something. Your soulmate slowly nodded. I remembered how peaceful everything felt before I started overthinking. The visitor smiled again. Then maybe your heart already knows the direction your future wants to take. Those words stayed with your soulmate long after the conversation ended. When they finally stood to leave, nothing around them had physically changed. The streets were the same. The night sky was the same. The world looked exactly as it had before. Yet everything inside them felt different. Because sometimes one unexpected meeting is enough to awaken feelings that have quietly waited beneath the surface all along. As they walked away, they looked back one final time. The visitor simply raised a hand and said, "Some stories continue because someone chooses hope instead of fear." Those words became the final thought your soulmate carried into the night. But what happened after they returned home was even more unexpected. The moment they entered the room, another realization quietly arrived, one that would make them question every assumption they had made about this connection. Don't skip. Because what they discovered next would become the beginning of an entirely new chapter. A quiet truth was about to reveal itself, and your soulmate had no idea that the night was far from over. They stepped inside, closed the door behind them, and expected the evening to end like every other evening. But something felt different. The silence inside the room did not feel empty. It felt meaningful, almost as though the conversation they had just experienced had followed them home. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They placed their phone on the table and tried to distract themselves with ordinary tasks, but their thoughts refused to move away from that unexpected meeting. Every word echoed more clearly than before. Every question seemed to unlock another memory they had buried deep inside. They suddenly realized something remarkable. Throughout the entire conversation, the stranger had never told them what to believe. Instead, They had gently helped your soulmate hear the answers that were already resting inside their own heart. As they looked through old memories, one particular moment stood out. It was a simple memory involving you. Nothing extraordinary happened in that moment, yet it carried a feeling that no recent experience had been able to replace. They smiled without realizing it. That smile surprised even them because it appeared naturally, without effort. It reminded them that genuine connections are often built through the smallest moments rather than the loudest ones. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Then something unexpected happened. Their phone lit up. It was not a message from you. It was not a notification they had been waiting for. Instead, it was an old photograph that appeared through a memory reminder. The image captured a peaceful season of life, a season when hope felt effortless and possibilities felt endless. Your soulmate stared at that photograph for a long time. The more they looked at it, the more they realized that the happiest version of themselves was the one who still believed beautiful things could happen without forcing them. That realization changed everything. For weeks, perhaps even months, they had been searching for answers outside themselves. Last night, through one unexpected conversation, they finally understood that the strongest answers had quietly remained within them all along. The stranger's final words returned once again. Some connections become stronger when time teaches both hearts what truly matters. Those words now felt completely different. Your soulmate began connecting moments that had once seemed unrelated. The unexpected memories. The meaningful dreams. The repeated reminders. The peaceful feeling whenever your path crossed their thoughts. Individually, they looked ordinary. Together, they painted a picture that could no longer be ignored. Don't skip. The biggest discovery has not happened yet. As midnight turned into the early hours of morning, they opened a notebook they had not touched for a long time. Inside were old thoughts, unfinished plans, quiet hopes, and reflections they had written during important seasons of life. One sentence immediately caught their attention. I hope one day I recognize what truly belongs in my future. They stopped reading. A deep sense of clarity filled the room. Without anyone telling them what to do, they realized that they had already begun recognizing that future. Not through certainty. Not through pressure. But through peace. The kind of peace that quietly grows stronger instead of louder. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Before going to sleep, they looked out the window and whispered something almost no one had ever heard them say. I think I've been looking at this story from the wrong direction. That simple sentence marked the beginning of a completely different chapter. The unexpected person they met had not entered their life to replace anyone. They had entered their life to remind them of what their own heart had never forgotten. And that reminder became the most valuable part of the entire evening. As morning approached, your soulmate felt lighter than they had in a very long time. Questions that once felt impossible now seemed easier to understand. Doubts slowly gave way to quiet confidence. Instead of wondering whether meaningful connections could survive time, they began wondering how many signs they had overlooked while searching for dramatic answers. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. What your soulmate still did not know was that another unexpected event was already beginning to unfold. Someone else was about to share a piece of information that would connect perfectly with everything they had experienced the previous night. The conversation was not finished. The story was only growing stronger. And when those two moments finally came together, your soulmate would realize that last night's unexpected meeting had been only the first page of a much greater story that was still waiting to unfold. The next morning carried a feeling that could not be explained with ordinary words. Before your soulmate even stepped outside, they sensed that the story from last night had not ended, it had only paused. There are moments in life when everything appears normal on the surface, yet deep beneath it, invisible pieces are moving into perfect alignment. This was one of those moments. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As the sunlight slowly filled the room, your soulmate remembered every detail of the unexpected meeting. The stranger's calm voice. The thoughtful questions. The quiet confidence behind every sentence. None of it felt accidental anymore. It felt carefully timed, as though that conversation had arrived precisely when it was needed most. Instead of rushing into another busy day, your soulmate chose to slow down. For the first time in a long while, they allowed themselves to simply think. Then another unexpected event unfolded. While walking through their morning routine, they overheard two people having a conversation. They were complete strangers, speaking casually about how the greatest opportunities often arrive after people stop forcing the outcome. Those words were not directed toward your soulmate, yet they landed with incredible power. It felt like another reminder, another piece of a much larger picture. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate smiled quietly. Not because everything was suddenly certain, but because different moments kept pointing toward the same truth. The meeting from last night. The unexpected photograph. The old notebook. Now this conversation. Each event seemed ordinary on its own. Together, they created something impossible to ignore. As the day continued, your soulmate found themselves noticing details they would normally overlook. A familiar song began playing in the distance. It reminded them of a peaceful chapter they had almost forgotten. A gentle breeze passed by, carrying a feeling of calm instead of confusion. Even the smallest moments seemed meaningful. It was as though life itself had slowed down just enough for them to finally see what had always been there. Then they remembered something the stranger had said just before leaving. Sometimes the answer isn't hiding from you. Sometimes it is simply waiting until you are ready to recognize it. Those words echoed once again. This time they felt even stronger. Don't skip. The biggest moment is still ahead. Later that afternoon, your soulmate visited a quiet place where they often went whenever they needed clarity. They sat in complete silence, expecting nothing unusual to happen. Yet as they looked around, they realized how different they felt compared to only 24 hours earlier. The uncertainty that once filled their thoughts had been replaced by quiet confidence. For a long time, they believed that meaningful connections had to be dramatic to be real. Now they understood something completely different. The strongest connections often reveal themselves gently. Without pressure. Without noise. Without needing to prove anything. That realization became one of the most valuable lessons they had ever received. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As evening approached, another surprising moment arrived. Your soulmate opened their phone, intending to check something completely unrelated. Instead, they found themselves reading through an old conversation they had almost forgotten existed. Every sentence reminded them of honesty, kindness, patience, and hope. Instead of focusing on what had been lost, they suddenly focused on everything that had always remained meaningful. For several quiet minutes, they simply reflected. No distractions. No overthinking. Only clarity. Then they softly whispered to themselves. Maybe this story has been growing all along without me realizing it. That sentence changed everything. Because the unexpected person from last night had not created these feelings. They had awakened them. The truth had already been living inside your soulmate's heart. The meeting simply gave it permission to rise to the surface. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As darkness returned once again, your soulmate looked toward the sky with a completely different perspective than they had the night before. They no longer searched for dramatic signs. They no longer chased impossible answers. Instead, they trusted the quiet direction their heart had begun revealing. But while they believed the greatest surprise had already happened, another unexpected chapter was preparing to begin. Someone connected to last night's mysterious meeting was about to share one final truth, a truth that would explain why that conversation happened on that exact night, at that exact moment, and why every path seemed to lead back to the same remarkable story. The next revelation would connect every unanswered question into one unforgettable moment, one that your soulmate would remember for the rest of their life.